Welcome to Vintage Weights PGH. In this video, I'm going to review Mayhem Strength Deep Dish Weight Plates. So what am I going to cover? I'm going to go through the different specifications of the Mayhem Strength Deep Dish Weight Plates, what makes them similar and a little bit different from other offerings currently on the market, and some similarities and differences to vintage deep dish weight plates. After watching this video, if you decide that Mayhem Strength Deep Dish Weight Plates are for you, you can save money at Gym Bros, which sells Mayhem, with code VINTAGE. Now with that said, you will see in this video that I point out not only the strengths, but also some weaknesses and some points for improvement with Mayhem Strength Deep Dish Weights. Gym Bros currently produces Mayhem Strength Deep Dish Weight Plates in a black finish, which I have 35s and 45s of. There's a prototype raw finish that I was fortunate enough to bring home from Homegym Con, but which is not currently for sale just yet. And then what is for sale right now would be their chrome and their gold chrome weight plates as well. The 45s and the 35s that you see here are in the black finish. They have silver lettering and numbering. The casting is identical between all of the plates. So no matter the finish, whether it's chrome, gold chrome, eventually if Mayhem puts out the raw finish, you'll have the same casting as these black deep dish that you see before you. The lettering and numbering are very sharp looking in person, and I mean that as a compliment. They really are pronounced. They stand out. I have heard quite a bit of criticism for the logo for this Mayhem. Everything from why does it curve opposite the curve of the plate at the top, to not liking the different triangular points on it, or not liking that it reminds the person of Orange County Choppers, something of that styling. When I spoke with James on Homegym History podcast, he explained that it's actually the bike culture, the motorcycle culture, that he really enjoys, and that being from California and seeing that culture, he wanted to have that kind of influence on his plates. I know from being a member of Vintage Weights and Physical Culture Facebook group that James actually posted these on the group, which that's a gutsy move to get some feedback, and several people gave pretty pointed and blunt feedback to him about the lettering and the logo, but he went forward with it because he believed in it, he liked it, and ultimately this is his company. So more about the lettering and the logo later. To continue on with the design of these, the other thing that stands out would be the hub. Instead of having full spokes, there are more of the crosshair spokes, the cross hub if you will, in the style of vintage Jacksons and Weeders. Weeder copying from Jackson, just to be clear. The difference between the spokes on the vintage plates and these is that the vintage plates have more of a curve to them, whereas these are a straight edge. The flanges on the Mayhem plates are also a little bit thicker than the ones on the vintage Jackson and Weeders. The Mayhem Strength plates are machined on 3 sides, which did yield an impressive weight tolerance. I weighed all of these from 2.5 all the way through 45 pounds, and all of them were within 1% weight tolerance. I had my Vintage Gains calibration plates at the ready, but didn't have to use them even once. In terms of how they feel, they have an almost 2-inch depth. When I used my digital calibers, I got about 1.8 inches instead of 2 inches, so almost there, but not exactly the full 2 inches of a Jackson or a Weeder, to go back to the vintage comparison. In terms of the casting, there were a few casting flaws, a couple little spots on the edge here that should have been ground out, and a couple pronounced lines on the face. James actually spoke to me about these lines and said that when he visited the foundry in China, pretty soon he was going to ask about the production of the ductile iron that these are made from, and whether these lines were coming from that production and that ductile iron. If you check out Mayhem Strength's YouTube channel, you can see James' visit to the foundry. One of the most underrated features of this casting and design that pictures on their own might not pick up on would be the beveled edges. The reason you should care about the beveled edges is that this is what makes these comfortable in the hand. The beveled edges on all sides really make these nice to pick up and load onto the barbell. Something else that's kind of cool and interesting about the Mayhem deep dish is that the center hole is quite snug on the barbell sleeve, so not much play at all. And there's a beveled edge that's on the center hole, and I find that that's not only giving it a comfortable feel in hand, but it also kind of helps, since it's so snug on the barbell, to put the plate onto the bar. The prototype raw finish that I brought home, which would be the 2.5 through 25s that I have in my gym right now, is a really nice looking finish. There are some things that make it a prototype, some rust spots, some different blemishes that made their way through. In my opinion, the small amount of blemishes on these really don't need to be addressed. A simple disclaimer that this is a raw finish and there will be imperfections in the actual iron would do it justice. Something that I would suggest that Mayhem work on would be just the clear finish that is on these. The clear finish, in the short time that I had them, about a month and a half, really chipped quite a bit and scratched, which just didn't happen on the black and the silver paint of my 35s and 45s. No chipping, no scratching. To be fair, these were smaller plates that were getting changed more often and worked with more often, but I still have a sneaking suspicion that clear coat would be the thing to work on before releasing these for sale. In terms of the design, which is consistent through the chrome and the black finished plates, the 10s, 25s, 35s, and 45s have the full lettering and numbering, whereas the 5s and the 2.5s have something a little bit different. They just have this M logo instead of the Mayhem logo. Now, something that all of them have that I think is pretty cool would be that on the back they have their motto: no surrender, no limit, no retreat. It's kind of cool when you're loading these onto the bar to see that around the center of the plate on the back. And that's consistent all the way down through 2.5s and the 5s. If you didn't notice, the numbers are opposite orientation, meaning that whether it is facing this way or I flip it upside down, there is one of the numbers that's facing the correct way. When it comes to the 2.5s through the 10s, that's fine with me, because you'll notice that the 10s don't say Mayhem strength. They just have Mayhem on both sides. So this 10 and this Mayhem look correct, and if I flip it over, this 10 and this Mayhem look correct. On the 2.5s and the 5s, the same thing happens. There's a 5 that looks correct with this M logo, and if I flip it over, there's a correct correlation between the number and the lettering. The same can't be said for the 25s through 45s. The 25s through 45s have Mayhem strength, which means that this 35 looks correct with this orientation. But when I flip it over, this 35 looks correct, but now Mayhem strength is upside down. So my suggestion going forward, if there's another iteration of these or the casting is redesigned, would be to either have the Mayhem on both sides and get rid of the strength, or to flip the numbers to both facing the same orientation of the lettering if you're going to keep Mayhem strength. Now let's talk about this logo, and like I said, some of the criticism that I've heard people giving it. Personally, I felt sort of the same. It wasn't really my style. It wasn't really something that attracted me at first. However, when I got the background story from James and he told me about the purposeful intent with it to pay homage to his hometown and something that he enjoyed, which would be the motorcycle culture and that bit of his life, I kind of gained a little bit of an affinity for it. Now, if we set aside the Mayhem logo and we just look at what's on the 2.5s and the 5s, this Spinal Tap looking M, I really like this M. And I kind of wish that there was a whole set of Mayhem plates that just had the M instead of the Mayhem. Mayhem also has a Jester logo that I saw on its bumpers. So going forward, I understand if James wants to keep the Mayhem logo the way that it is, but I would suggest maybe considering offering some other stylings. Keep the same casting. I love the beveled edges. I love that The cross hubs go all the way down to 2.5. I should point out that Weider and Jackson didn't do that. So it comes down to personal preference, whether you enjoy the logo or not. I really like the Spinal Tap M, and the Mayhem logo has been growing on me. However, setting aside the logo, these are quality made plates. And some people might knock that they're made overseas, but you saw the weight tolerance here, and I'm telling you, these beveled edges feel nice in the hand. So that's where I feel that you're getting a premium plate. But for what price? For point of comparison, a pair of 45s right now in the black finish, just like this one, go for $300, and that's including shipping and taxes. So that's $300 out the door, free shipping, taxes included. Rogue deep dish go for about $180. The Rogue Arnold deep dish go for $275, and LeMaster deep dish go for $225. All three of those prices do not include shipping or taxes. So I would say that these Mayhem deep dish are right around the price of Rogue Arnold plates. However, at this time, the Rogue Arnold plates are just 45s. You can't get a whole set of them, whereas you can have a whole set of the Mayhem deep dish. So in comparison to the other modern deep dish on the market, are these worth it? Well, it's fair to say that these are premium. They're on the higher end with the Rogue Arnolds. I think they're worth the money because of the weight tolerance, because of the snug fit on the barbell, and because of the overall design that makes them comfortable in the hand. If you decide to go out and buy these, then please make sure you use code VINTAGE. You can save yourself a couple bucks. Even if you don't want to buy these, hopefully this video has helped you to learn a little bit about modern deep dish plates. And that's something that I do owe a debt of gratitude to James and Gym Bros for coming out with the Mayhem Strength deep dish plates, because along with other companies that are bringing back deep dish, I am so excited to see some quality made deep dish on the market in modern times. So thanks so much to James and everybody at Gym Bros and Mayhem Strength for bringing back this cross hub classic deep dish design. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. This is Rob at VintageWeightsPGH. Thanks so much for watching.